bowl season is here. Are you ready to cash in on what you know? Where you play is as important as what you play. The pros play at mybookie.ag. All the lines, odds, and plays, both college and pro, all at mybookie.ag. Play where you get paid super fast and there's never a hassle. Step up and mybookie.ag will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Use promo code JJ50 to activate the offer. Don't leave the money on the table. mybookie.ag, promo code JJ50, and your first deposit is matched up to 50%. Play where the pros play because they get paid. mybookie.ag.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the dirt. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me a boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up? Dome.
I'm still David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together, we are Jalen Jacoby on ESPN2 and ESPN Radio. What do we do, Mr.
We
Rose?
get the people what they want.
For NBA fans and especially Boston Celtics fans, I have very good news.
Are you a Die Easy Celtics fan these days?
Yes. After defeating the Brooklyn Nets on Tuesday nights, the Celtics have won 13 straight games. Yay. The bad news. The streak is ending Thursday night when the Warriors come to town. It's over. We all know this. We're taping this way before the game on Thursday night.
It's over now.
But we all know the streak is over.
Babe.
Congratulations on the 13 games.
You treated me so bad.
And before this streak comes to a close, which it will on Thursday night, we just want to celebrate it a little bit. This is your time, Boston Celtics fans. This streak has been great. It's about to come to a close, so let's celebrate it. Jalen, what has been the key to the Boston Celtics' early success without Gordon Hayward?
So here's how I want to frame it. Of course, you need great players to win championships. All-time great players, Hall of Fame level players to win multiple championships.
Sure.
So when you look at the Bulls, when they had Mike and Scotty and Phil, when you look at the Spurs with their big three, when you look at the New England Patriots with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, those have been the constants in the dynasties.
Okay.
But if you've noticed, they've made a lot of changes to the roster in between that period of time. That's what the Celtics have been able to do. Whatever we are saying about Kyrie Irving right now and the success of the Boston Celtics, guess what? You said it about Isaiah Thomas last year.
Ooh, good point.
The Celtics, from the top down, you start with the ownership, and then with Danny Ainge, who did really good chess moves, and their terrific head coach in Brad Stevens.
Running away with Coach of the Year so far.
Continues to mold talent, develop them, and create a system to where multiple guys score double figures, multiple guys compete defensively, and they've had a big-time turnover on their roster.
Let's take a look at that roster and that turnover that you talked about. Look at the starting five from last year and the starting five from this year.
And when you make sweeping changes like this,
4 of the 5.
4 of their 5 starters are gone. They only return, I think, 4 players to the entire roster that were on a team that, what did the Celtics do last year? Oh, they were the number 1 seed in the East.
Yep.
What are they now? Oh, they're still the number 1 seed. So how does that happen? Exactly what I said. When you institute a system that allows the players to function to their optimum ability, but yet when Kyrie Irving is out with a fractured face, when Gordon Hayward is down with a horrific injury,
still winning,
when Al Horford is out, when Marcus Morris, who just had 20 and 12, is out,
still winning.
You still find a way to get it done.
So you mentioned Al Horford, and you notice from that graphic that he is the only starter that is returning to the team, and he has low-key been the key to the Celtics' early success. He's only scoring like 15 points a game, but he's shooting 49% from 3, and one thing he is bringing to this team that they focus on is defense. He's blocking shots, as you saw right there in the Greek Freak. He's hitting threes. Al Horford has been the rock, the veteran, the defensive and offensive sort of like leader of this team, not with the ball, but as a person. How does that veteran presence help this young team?
Well, it helps tremendously because here's what ends up happening in sports. There's such thing as splash plays or loud plays. So like when Dennis Smith as a rookie drives to the basket, around Pau Gasol and does a two-hand dunk, that's allowed.
Yes.
2 points.
Blake Griffin comes to mind.
No question. And so the Boston Celtics have multiple players who are not that.
To get quiet points.
And Al Horford comes to mind when you think about the better bigs in the game. Anthony Davis, Boogie Cousins, Karl Anthony Towns, Joel Embiid. I can name so many players before I say Al Horford.
Yes.
And nobody would argue with me about it.
Nobody would.
But he's actually become the prototypical big man because he used to play 4. Now he has the ability to play 5. You said he shoots the 3, plays defense, and he's a veteran. And he understands his role. He's a professional. He can help bring young players along. And he doesn't matter who gets the spotlight, which is really important at this point of his career.
You mentioned earlier this system that they have and the way that they integrate new players. And one thing about this system is I think this system has turned Kyrie Irving into a great defender. Last year, he was 69th amongst point guards. 69th amongst point guards. I believe there's about 70 or 80 in the entire league. This year, he is 14th in defensive rating. So, Jalen, is Kyrie trying harder? Is he better on defense now? Or is this a systematic thing?
Pull up some tape of me playing in Indiana. Oh, man, I could play defense.
Really?
Yes. You know why? Because it was a team thing, and you have to give more effort because everybody's holding each other accountable. Now, you pull up the effort I gave in Toronto.
I don't
Couldn't
remember
play
effort.
defense.
I don't remember effort. Yeah.
Because what ends up happening is when you don't play, you think that, oh, you could just get in front of a player and stop them. No, you can't. I've had Michael Jordan standing in front of me. I had Scottie Pippen standing in front of me. Buckets. But all of a sudden, they know where their help is. They force you baseline. Here come Rodman. They're right there. And so there are individuals that can lock you down for a possession or a couple of possessions or for a couple of dribbles. But great offense is going to always be good defense. And so the Celtics have a defensive system of where they're going to force the pick and roll, where they're going to force the dribble drive. They don't differentiate from that.
Ooh.
So everybody knows where they're going to be and everybody's accountable. And when you play on a good team and you make a mistake, what ends up happening? My bad.
Not pointing the
My
finger,
bad.
smacking the chest.
But when you play on a poor team, it's an argument.
Of course.
Pull back up some of the Cavs footage. Multiple times him and LeBron going to the timeout like, what's going on?
Yep.
LeBron and Tristan like, what's going on?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned LeBron because Howard Beck
King
just did a feature on the King LeBron James and the Cavs, and LeBron offered this interesting quote. Quote, I look forward to when IT returns, whenever that happens, to give me a break here and there where I know he can run the offense and control a quarter or two, or a game if need be. It's been a while since I've had that clear-cut guy who can get guys involved but also score at the same time. Jalen Rose, sounds like a veiled shot at Kyrie Irving. Is that what it is?
It's not veiled, it was. Kyrie's role with the Cavs was vastly different. When I say a system, when you watch the Boston Celtics play, it isn't one guy pounding the ball playing isolation. They don't play like that. That is how the Cavs play. So he was, along with LeBron James, one of the best isolation players in the game. They were one of the best isolation teams in the league. And when they met the Golden State Warriors in the finals, it was a contrast to two styles. One team that moved the ball, one team that played isolation. And so I understand where he's coming from because that's what Kyrie was asked to do. But I do know this. I was in the building, right wing, being guarded by Steph Curry, Game 7. They gave the ball to Kyrie.
Right now we're going to our 1-800-FLOWERS Twitter feed. We asked you, we're going to start working our Twitter feed better. Everyone listening, especially our co-producers. We're going to ask some specific questions, not just general questions. We answered those earlier. Right now we have specific questions about relationships. Are you ready, Mr. Rose?
Let's get it.
James wants to know, is it okay to have a joint bank account with your partner?
James, thank you for the shout. We appreciate the support. It's absolutely 100% okay.
Let me just say there's levels to it, though. There's levels.
It is levels
there's
to
levels.
it. Like no question about it.
There's certain
there's
benchmarks
levels to
in the
everything.
relationship. Yes, there's certain benchmarks in the relationship. It has to be. You have to be pretty far along the relationship path before you start getting a joint bank account.
And once that takes place, there's always going to be a time where each individual wants their own little slush fund to put their
Sure. Oh, I call it play money.
money in their pocket, which is rightfully so.
Walk around
But
account.
a lot of things come to the forefront about unhappy or unhealthy relationships, one of the main things that gets overlooked is finance.
It's true. It's a big part of your life. It's a big part of your relationship.
And so if that piece of it is in order and you have an understanding of what the expectation is of each person based on what you're making and what you're spending, absolutely.
Once upon a time, my wife and I lived together, even before we were married. Just a quick personal story. And then it was, I made more, so I paid more. We split it down, not down the middle, but I made a little bit more, so I paid a little bit more. However, she started making more than me, and we stayed at 50-50. You know how that goes. I remember I brought it up one time. I was like, remember when I made more than you? And I used to pay more. I was like, you make more than me now, so what's up with you paying more? She looked at me and was just like, next question.
Not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, she was like, next question. Shout out to my wife. You know what? You should never, ever, you should encourage your wife to make more than you. Thank you so much for the question, James. Next question we have is from Game Infested.
Shout out.
Is it a soft move or a boss move to call your lady wifey even though you're not legally married?
It's 100% a boss move. I do it every day.
There's nothing wrong with it. Everyone's got their own little thing.
There's levels to it. And that's pretty much where the term comes from. For me, Meth said it best. Sometimes you don't need a ring to be my wife.
Meth always said it best.
Yeah.
I've been listening to that woo.
I'm telling you. Were we
I've
wrong
been bumping
about
it all day.
If you are listening to this and you have not listened to the new Woo yet, let me tell you, you will not be able to tell the difference between the new Woo and the old Woo. It's a Wu-Tang album. Like, they have tried different things. RZA was in the Grave Diggers, and, Method Man and Redman did their thing. They've all gone down a little past, but it's come full circle, and they're now back to being the Wu-Tang Clan.
And it's not like the Woo, then there's Red and Meth. Redman is on multiple songs also.
I think he even got a Wu-Tang tattoo. He's part of the Wu-Tang.
No question.
Yeah, he is. And so this next question is from Allie. Has Jacoby used...
We didn't answer the last question.
Well, all right, you got sidetracked. What was the question then? Do you call... Oh, wifey. Yeah, it's boss move.
Boss move, no doubt about it.
We answered that. Yeah. Allie, I appreciate you keeping tabs, though. Got to answer the questions. People, you got to give the people what they want. Has Jacoby used Jalen's regular tonic yet? And when was the last time Jalen has used it? Jalen, I don't know if you know this. You actually don't know this because you don't come to the production meetings. We have got the ingredients. Tomorrow on the show, you will not only show me how to mix it, what the proper, you know what I mean, ingredient, what the proper ratio are of each ingredient. I will be drinking what I call Jalen juice tomorrow on the radio and on television on Jalen and Jacoby.
And really, the best way to actually do it, and we have hot water here clearly, is hot water, real ginger. Get some real ginger.
Oh, I forgot
have to
about the
peel
ginger.
it.
Alex, if you're listening, we need ginger.
You see, that's why I said that first. Cayenne, honey.
Honey? I thought it was lemon juice in there.
And a little lemon.
Apple cider vinegar, cayenne pepper, ginger, lemon juice.
Trying to tell you. And by the way, for those people out there that drink a lot of tea, I just gave you tea without a tea bag.
Next question is from Anthony. Is being a good guy unattractive to women? Seem like they want dudes who are trouble.
So here's what I learned. And I say this respectfully to men and to women. I think the saying goes like, don't treat someone like everything that only treats you like an option.
Okay.
And so what usually happens in every relationship is at one point, one individual likes the other one more. That happens in friendships also. You got that homeboy, that homegirl, you like, man, they're high maintenance, but I love them. They always asking me for something, my time, my energy. They want advice, they want counseling, but those are my peeps. And then you find that happy balance of what makes each other tick. And so once you iron that part out and you start seeing eye to eye, then there's a level of respect that you gain that has, as I mentioned earlier, nothing to do with title.
It's a great point. And also I would say to Anthony, you can't make generalizations about this. Yes, there are women that do seem to look for sort of more edgy, troublesome men. And there's the opposite too, you know? And I would say that over the long term, though, if you're looking for a long-term thing, you know which way you want to go. Next question we have is, this is also from Allie. Allie has a great question. Soft move for boss move. Sleeping on opposite sides of the bed with your significant other because he has horrible breath. Allie she's got a breath problem with her man.
That's a soft move.
Oh, I like this.
Allie, I got love for you. We all have strengths and weaknesses. Mm-hmm. And just like you come to your man each day and you like, man, his breath stink. Your feet probably stink. He just don't say anything.
But another thing is I always say this. This is another like sort of Jacobyism is people can only control what they can control. So, Allie, what you should do is work with your significant other. Yep. Make sure that they're using breath rinse, mouth rinse. Make sure that they're using toothpaste and everything they can do. But if they're doing everything they can, the breath still stinks. What are you gonna do?
But also, first off, I appreciate you for still being with him, not saying this is the one thing I don't like.
That's not a deal breaker, yeah.
Because what ends up happening, it's the 90-10 theory. It's you really like 90% of somebody, but you find yourself complaining about the 10% that they're not.
Of course.
And then you feel like you're going to go find somebody else.
Of course.
And then all you getting is that 10% and you just lost 90.
My wife does everything for me. Like literally everything. Every single thing. But I still complain about the littlest, smallest things. You know what I mean?
And so what a teammate does, since we're a sports show, and what a mate does, make them better. Say, babe, here's some good toothpaste you got to try. Mm-hmm. Here's some good Listerine and mouthwash you got to try.
How you do it too.
Make them better.
You gotta ease it in there.
Yeah, no doubt. Make them better.
Can't be drill sergeant with it. Jalen Rose.
What up, Dell?
You never went to a nightclub before an NBA basketball game, right? Like the night before. You would never.
I
do
wouldn't
that,
do
right?
such a thing.
You would never do that, right?
Go to a city and then go to the club the night before a game?
Yeah, night before a game. You got to rest up. You got to get rest. Got to watch film, right?
I almost told on myself. At first, I thought you meant on the day of the game. I was like, did I ever do that before? Did I ever have a day party before a game?
Was there a day?
No, even I didn't do that one.
Did I ever hit the lunch buffet at the spot before a game?
No, that's unprofessional.
Well, nowadays, the TMZ cameras are always there for you, especially when you come to Los Angeles. I think a lot of basketball players come to Los Angeles and they want to see what it's like out in the LA Nights. They want to hit the Sunset Strip. They want to see Hollywood. They want to go to Ace of Diamonds or whatever it is. Ben Simmons went out Tuesday night, out late, till 2 in the morning. TMZ cameras catch him, and now he faces Lonzo Ball and the Lakers on Wednesday. Something or nothing?
Nothing.
Really?
Because here's what I learned. Just because you're not at the club, that doesn't mean you're asleep. Mm-hmm. The players for the hometown team are probably doing whatever makes them happy and entertaining and having fun and enjoying life. They're just not out in public because they're the hometown team.
Let me go this way as the media guy, though. Perception is reality. And when you're Ben Simmons, you're hot right now. And when you're hot, the TMZ cameras are looking for you. And when you go out and you know that and you're hot, and TMZ gets you, they put a post up of you, what you do is you put out this perception that you were partying late before a game. And and if you do not perform well, people will attribute that to you partying before the game.
If Allen Iverson had to go to bed at 10 at night, he wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
Explain.
Dennis Rodman, the same thing. Some people, body clocks are just different, and they're able to juggle their personal life and the things that they enjoy late at night in most cases, and still are able to perform. And then there are the other people that just can't, and they know it, and sometimes they still do it. It's no different for those that go out on work nights. Some people know, man, if I go out tonight, I'm gonna be nothing at the job tomorrow. And some people are like, no big deal. I got this.
So later on tonight, you got Ball versus Simmons. That's on ESPN, right?
Yes, indeed.
NBA Countdown. At halftime, if Ben Simmons is over 8 from the field,
you know I'll bring it up.
4 turnovers, you know you're going to bring it up.
Of course.
So at the same time, like that's kind of what I mean as the media guy. Like, don't give people like Jalen Rose the ammunition to say things like he was out last night and looks like he's over 8 because he was out last night.
It's a flip side to that, too.
What's that?
And I just gave you a couple of examples. Say he come out and he's all-time dominant.
I like it. Then that's superstition. Got to go out the night
before.
Then
it's urban legend now.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're Joe Namath.
Like, he must have went to bed too early last night.
Yeah, then you're Babe Ruth all of a sudden.
And then people are like, what happened to his jumper? Like, not realizing he never had one.
This was something that, it was just like a little headline, but it was something that I know that you can take us behind the curtain on and offer some good insight. Jaylen Brown, who is celebrated as this sort of like thinking man's NBA player.
I thought you were going to say it's celebrated as being a Jalen.
Nah, because they didn't want to associate themselves with you. They put the Y in there.
Got it.
You know, they're
Still
like,
counts.
they're like, I love the name Jalen, but like, let's try to disassociate yourself from that Rose
fam,
guy.
that's cultural. How many names you know that got awkward spellings?
Lots of them.
Okay.
Dwayne Wade.
There you go. Good example.
There. Yeah, the autocorrect will not let me spell Dwayne Wade's name. Autocorrect is just like, come on. That's not how you spell it. I'm like, look, his mom didn't have autocorrect on the birth certificate.
How many LeBrons are out there before
Can I say
Mr.
one
James?
thing about names real quick? I was thinking about this. Who's LeBron always compared to? Right, like that's the thing. That's what happens. I know you watch First Take every day. That's what they do. That's kind of like the low hanging fruit of NBA conversations. Who's better, Jordan or LeBron? There'll always be some sort of article or some stat or something that will bring that back up. I was thinking about those names, and Michael is such a boring name. LeBron, there is no other LeBrons. It kind of gives him a mystique. It gives him like a branding. It gives him an extra little something. Not comparing him to Mike, but like it's unique that this superstar basketball player has a name that has never been done before, much like my co-host Jalen Rose.
Absolutely. But I'm not going to speak for LeBron because he's highly intelligent. Jaylen Brown seems smarter than me already.
Yeah, I think that's already over. That's not even that competition. No one even brought that up. So Jaylen Brown said this: 80% of people think they can beat an NBA player one-on-one. What? I mean, I think he might be. I mean, he's just playing around with the numbers a little bit. But in your experience, do you get those like thirsty Division III college basketball players that see you at the gym that want to go one-on-one?
I'll take it a step further. The people that never played at all, like high school or college, that feel like, oh, he's not Michael Jordan, so I can take him.
Exactly.
That whole ideology. That's why we got to retire certain words on this program. That really rebuffs that line of thinking.
So, Jaylen Brown mentioned Jared Dudley by name of people that, you know, like an NBA player that people think they could beat one-on-one. If I'm Jared Dudley, I'm just like, when you get jumped up, don't mention my name. Like, come on, Jaylen Brown, you want to play one-on-one right now? I'm Jared Dudley. I'll back you down.
Here's why I use him as an example. And by the way, I got love for Jared Dudley. Has a son named Jalen. Can't make this stuff up.
I love Jared Dudley.
How about this? So, when you look at him, though, just like Zebo, kind of built like a Michelin man, doesn't look like he's
getting a little stretch mark 4-y.
As you think a quote-unquote athlete is.
Stretch mark 3.
And then all of a sudden, you get him open for 3, and he knocking him down, getting paid millions of dollars to play basketball.
Millions and millions and millions. If Jared Dudley couldn't be in the league, Jared Dudley would be out of the league by now. But he always gets picked up and he always gets minutes. Shout out to Jared Dudley.
We got to bring him on the show.
He's going to be in the media.
Shout out.
He's going to be in the media. You know that's going to. He's been working that for a long time. I remember him in the Podfather used to hang out. He's been working that angle. Jalen, Blake Shelton was named the sexiest man alive.
What? How do you get nominated?
What? You want to be up for this, don't you? I can see. I know you well enough by now.
I got 12 months to get it together. What are the criteria?
I know you well enough by now.
What's the criteria?
You have to be white.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
I'm just playing.
98% of them are.
Denzel's been in there.
Who else?
They've had some diversity. I don't know the history of the People Magazine Sexiest Man Alive.
It's only been 1 or 2 black people. You
I know,
and I both
we
know
had
it.
to look this up because we do this every year.
That was a great joke.
But I like Blake Shelton as a pick because I feel like he represents for the dads out there, the gray-haired, dad-bodied dudes out there. We can still be sexy. Are you as upset as the rest of the internet that Blake Shelton is the sexiest man alive?
No, I learned not to criticize, judge, or critique another man or woman based on their status, their looks, their background, their religion, their creed. That level of responsibility and respect and maturity, it really lifted an emotional burden off of my life because I was a lot like a lot of people out there too. Like I used to basically walk around with my fist balled up too and my face frowned up thinking if something happened for somebody else that they probably was taking food out of my mouth. And then I realized there's plenty out here for everybody to eat.
Bowl season is here. Are you ready to cash in on what you know? Where you play is as important as what you play. The pros play at mybookie.ag. All the lines, odds, and plays, both college and pro, all at mybookie.ag. Play where you get paid super fast and there's never a hassle. Step up and mybookie.ag will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Use promo code JJ50 to activate the offer. Don't leave the money on the table. mybookie.ag, promo code JJ50, and your first deposit is matched up to 50%. Play where the pros play because they get paid. mybookie.ag.
Jalen Rose, it's time for soft move or boss move. The Spurs, Kyle Anderson.
Go, Spurs, go!
Gets this rebound. And then the Mavs, Majiri reaches for it, and Anderson makes the most of the flopportunity.
You had to go there, huh?
He made the most of that flopportunity, and then after the game, he tweeted and then deleted this. Quote, "The difference between flopping and selling it. Dude reached across my body and got my arm. Did what my dad taught me as a kid when that happens to try to sell the foul. Flopping is when you don't get touched and you add the theatrics." Jalen Rose, not owning up to the fact that you flopped when you flopped. Soft move or boss move?
Slow motion. That's my guy since UCLA. Soft move.
Ooh.
And the last word should have been the first word. Theatrics.
You flopped.
The way he fell, he almost tore up his knee. When you look back at that video, that's what I thought was about to happen. Like, did he hurt himself?
Yeah, what are we watching here?
You still got the call.
You flopped.
So you didn't have to fall.
If you're a flopper, does it have flopped?
And you can sell the call.
There's nothing wrong with flopping.
Without falling down.
Do you know what the softest of move, though, is? I didn't play in the NBA, Jalen, so there weren't refs there. I play pickup. I hate it when players in call-your-own-foul games still kind of flop. Like, you call your own foul. Who are you flopping for? Yep. Another story for another time. Moving on, story for right now. A gentleman by the name of Robbie Calland, I hope I'm saying his name right. He's a writer for Uprock Sports.
Shout out.
He wanted to up Kobe, right? Kobe scored 81 on you and around you and on your team. So he went to the all-you-can-eat Chick-fil-A Nugget Night, which is $12.99, and tried to beat Kobe. He wanted to eat 82 nuggets. Jalen Rose started off good, slowed down, had some trouble, eventually got through 82 nuggets. Soft move or boss move, eating 82 nuggets to one-up Kobe Bryant.
Setting a goal and accomplishing it, boss move.
I like it. Boss move. You know what? I ran the marathon. He ate 82 nuggets. We all push our bodies in different ways, you know?
I would like to know if he used sauce. If so,
you have
which
to.
one?
You got to use
sauce. The honey mustard is bomb.
You got to use sauce. Can I say something into a microphone that I probably shouldn't? Only had Chick-fil-A like 3 times.
You missing out.
Just only had it like 3 times.
Did I say something to a microphone?
What's that?
Never had Arby's.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Never had Hardee's.
No one's ever eaten at Arby's. No one's ever eaten at Arby's. Jalen, this is very important.
Have you ever had Papa John's?
No, I mean like a couple times. Not intentionally. Never ordered Papa John's to my house. The Toronto Raptors went down to Houston.
T-Dot.
To play the to play the Rockets. Guess what? They beat the Rockets. The Red Hot Rockets, James Harden. They beat them. They went down there. After the game, they got little Twitter fingers, and they posted this photo of James Harden without the beard saying, "Ball game, Raps win, #We the North." Soft move or boss move, pulling up old photos to troll your opponent.
I want to quote the great American philosopher David Jacoby, who says, "You can be mean if..."
You're funny.
That's funny.
I thought it was a little mean.
And funny.
I didn't think it was that funny.
I did.
I did laugh the first time I saw it, though.
Because it was him. It wasn't doctored. It was him.
We got one of you also that is not doctored. Let's take a look at an old photo of Jalen Rose. You wearing a backwards Javon Curse jersey and a Reebok hoodie and a big old diamond earring. What is happening in that photo shoot?
First off, I had 2 big diamond earrings.
Couldn't see the other one.
The chain I had on. That superstar, I'm going to have to bring that back out. I still got that kit.
You still have that chain?
No question.
You still have the Javon Curse jersey?
All of my eyes.
Have you ever worn the Javon Curse jersey forward?
I haven't. Javon Curse was the freak.
Shout out.
Jalen Rose, Space Jam is 21 years old. I never loved Space Jam. It wasn't really that big of a movie in my life, but like people seem to love it. I understand why. I get it. It involved Michael Jordan. People love Michael Jordan. This is the interesting part. The director is claiming that he is the reason that Dennis Rodman was added to the Chicago Bulls. Here is a quote from the director. Quote, "I said, why haven't you guys gone after Dennis Rodman? Because Michael was going back to the Bulls later that year." He said something about how he didn't know whether he could play with Dennis I said, look, the guy doesn't shoot. He plays defense. He rebounds. He doesn't get in your way. You should go after him. That night, Dennis Rodman was at this Beverly Hills hotel with Michael, and they made the deal that Monday. Soft move or boss move? The director of Space Jam taking credit for Rodman to the Bulls.
Boss move.
Ooh, I like it.
Because Jacoby always says in everyone's production, they are...
And everyone is a hero in their own movie.
Correct.
Everyone's world revolves around them.
And so whether he had 1% of influence on Michael Jordan, even if he had 0%, even though he said it to him.
Feels like 100 to him.
No question about it. He's no different than us predicting things that are going to happen when they take place.
He's the hero. Everyone's a hero in their own movie. Just remember that. Because when you're talking to somebody and you disagree with them or they see something different than you do, you have to put yourself in their shoes. And when you do so, say, I am the hero in the movie.
There's a reason why the late, great Jerry Krause also has his name hanging in the rafters in Chicago. He did that.
He did the deal. Next, Steven Tyler was on TMZ Sports, and they asked him about Ric Flair and the 30 for 30, and Ric Flair claiming that he slept with 10,000 women. And Steven Tyler he's saying that it's impossible that he'd never do so. Soft move or boss move, getting involved in Ric Flair's sex numbers.
We did it for Wilt, but in this case, I'm going to say it's a soft move.
It is. Like, just let him live his legend. Like we just said, let Ric Flair be the hero in his movie. And in his movie, the script says he slept with 10,000 women. So there you go. Whatever you want to believe, Ric Flair. That's
We're not
fine.
here to dispute it.
Exactly. You know what? If people want to claim crazy things that aren't true, I just let them live that delusion.
And also, I just have to say this on the Women's Crush Wednesday. That's not flattering.
Nah, it's not. It doesn't make you attractive. You know? No woman once says, I want to be number 10,001. Nope. You know, that's not how it works. Ric Flair.
Woo!
So, this isn't the New York City mayor. It's the New York City mayor's spokesperson, like the PR person for the mayor. They were asked, here's what he did. They asked him why he felt it necessary to publicly declare the unexpected endorsement. And he said this. He said, I like Chicago-style pizza. NYC has a lot of great pizza, but I prefer Chicago style. I don't think anyone cares what type of pizza the mayor's press secretary likes. I think they care more about someone not being a phony, especially about pizza. Soft move or boss move, being honest about your pizza preferences, even though you might lose your audience.
You won't lose your audience for that, or then it never was really down anyway. Come on now. Seriously?
I think it's a boss move to be honest about what you prefer. It's a soft move to like Chicago-style pizza more than New York style.
It's a soft move to say you like something that you don't, just so people will like you. That's phony.
I like that. I think that's interesting. If you had to pick between Chicago-style and New York style, what would you pick?
Chicago-style, because my favorite pizza, as you know, is Pizzapopolis. Mm-hmm. And it's seafood, and it basically comes in a deep dish variety.
I liked it. It was better than I expected it to be. But I'll take a New York-style pepperoni 100 times out of 100 on that. And don't forget, everybody.
Funny you say that. We had pizza for dinner last night.
If you've learned anything from this program, it should be this. Order your pizza well done with extra sauce. You don't have to do extra sauce. I prefer extra sauce, but your pizza's going to be better well done.
Can you give them a snapshot of how you know all of these intimate details?
I'm a professional pizza maker. I spent 2 years of my life. 2 years of my life at Bell's Pizza in Amherst, Massachusetts. R.I.P. Shame what happened at Bell's Pizza. But, man, I learned a lot in that hot kitchen from the late, great John Bell.
Shout out.
Jalen, I know this always makes you nervous. Time for the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
And now, the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
After being detained by Chinese police, held, charged with shoplifting, the UCLA trio of shoplifters and basketball players has returned to the United States of America. Before they addressed the media, President Trump, as he does, tweeted about the incident. He tweeted, "Do you think the 3 UCLA basketball players will say thank you, President Trump?" They were headed for 10 years in jail. What? Jalen Rose, guess what? The players thank President Trump. Let's listen.
To President Trump and the United States government, thank you for taking the time to intervene on our behalf.
I would also like to thank President Trump and the United States government for the help that they provided as well.
And thank you to the United States government and President Trump for your efforts to bring us home.
Jalen, did President Trump make them apologize by asking if they would say thank you to President Trump?
I think they would have anyway, but it's one of those cases where when you're doing something you're supposed to do as the leader of the free world, number 45, but yet you're willing to bust your arm to pat yourself on the back about something you did, they weren't going to get 10 years.
They weren't going to get 10 years. Raj Markazi has reported that there was something about 1 to 2 weeks was what was on the board.
And so there was a level of exaggeration there. There was a level of making sure that I get acknowledged. And again, his Twitter fingers are always active.
They are.
So they put themselves in that position.
Sure did.
The government and 45 did provide a level of assistance, so therefore
Facts
they
only.
deserve to be thanked.
Sure, I agree. So now the interesting part. They've been suspended indefinitely. Jalen Rose, what do you think a fair, for lack of a better term, punishment for this do you think these 3 players should receive?
Not expelled from school, not kicked off the team, still have the ability to attend meetings, still have the ability to attend practice, still should be able to travel with the team.
Okay.
But they shouldn't play a game until conference starts.
When is that?
That's probably like halfway.
Ooh, okay.
And the reason why you do that is because you have to send a strong message to these young men that while we understand the human brain doesn't mature until you're 25, so therefore you're going to make decisions you look back on and say, what was I thinking? This was a grave error in judgment that put a lot of people in an awkward position, the university, the individuals. And it wasn't just like they did it one time. They allegedly stole from 3 stores.
They went on a spree.
Correct.
They went on a spree.
No question. So based on that, and also you have to set some sort of tone for people that make bad decisions in the future. You already put it down that this is the level of punishment that we've already established.
Personally, as the media guy, what I would do is I wouldn't leave it hanging. I would tell the world right now how long they were suspended just to dead the news story and keep it moving.
This is where they're playing it wrong. Internally, you say, this is how long it's going to be. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Coach K did with Grayson Allen. A different scenario, obviously. He never gave an exact game. So whenever you bring him back, to some people it's going to be enough. To some people it's not going to be enough.
I can see that.
But because this is a bigger scenario, this is why I use that example. This is an apples and oranges comparison, is because now everybody's going to wonder and ask. I would have just flat out come out and said, this is how long it's going to be.
We can stop talking about it. Well, Rockets coach Mike D'Antoni has something to talk about. Here he is with reporters at Shoot Around on Wednesday talking about the return of Chris Paul.
What we've done up to now doesn't count. And we got a new team tomorrow because when you put that big of a rock into a pond, there's big waves, and we're going to figure out, one, getting a chance to get in the game shape and playing well. 2, everybody's rotation is a little bit different, so we have to endure the next 2 or 3 games and try to smooth it out as we go.
Why is Coach D'Antoni acting like we have to endure the next 2 or 3 games? Like, why is he acting like this is such a problem? How would you integrate Chris Paul if you were him?
Chris Paul has done a really good job in his rehab doing individuals with the legend John Lucas, who's a part of the Houston Rockets staff. I talked about from the beginning when initially it was talked about it only being a couple of weeks, that it was going to be around a 6-week timeline for Chris Paul's return. The most important thing that he said is getting game shape, but also he's integrating somebody that's also used to having the ball. And so based on the way Harden has been playing with him out, kind of like he was the last couple of years, the adjustment for everybody beyond rotation, in particular a guy like Eric Gordon, who's in the starting lineup. I picked him to be 6th man of the year. He's been balling, averaging around 20 points. And so he's got to now become a substitute again, and it's going to be a domino effect for the roster. But in particular in basketball, when you could bring back somebody of Chris Paul's caliber, an unselfish player that can get buckets, you find a way to figure it out. And also you want to keep James Harden's usage down. That was the whole goal for bringing Chris Paul to town, besides the fact he's a great player.
Is the best use of Chris Paul is the second unit James Harden. Like, should they? Of course, they're going to play at the same time at the beginning of games, at the end of games. But if I was managing the team, the way I would integrate him is make him the second unit James Harden.
That's what they were doing anyway. In order to get both of those guys the opportunity to play make, you start them, you substitute one, and you leave the other one in with the second unit. That was going to take place anyway. But I'm just going to put something out there.
I like it when you do this, Jalen. What do you got? What do you got?
I think this is Chris Paul's only season in Houston.
Yeah.
And I know I was one of the people that talked about LeBron James. If he left Cleveland, where would he end up? Is he going to end up in L.A. with Magic? And what's going to happen with Paul George? Hit the brakes.
Okay, sir.
LeBron ain't going to L.A. if he leave the Cavs. What? You know where he's going if he leaves? To New York City.
Oh, I was thinking Philly.
I've been thinking a lot about this, and I pay attention to, and I make a couple of phone calls here and there, about why things happening. Am I sitting here saying that he's going to leave? I don't know. Guess what? He doesn't know.
Of course not.
But guess what he doesn't want to do? Leave and go to the Western Conference.
He's going to be in the Eastern Conference.
Where he's been dominant already. So if he does decide to leave, if he does decide to leave, just think about what's happened over the last week or so. He's in New York City, filming himself on the subway.
Mm-hmm.
He's in New York City, going back and forth with Enes Kanter.
Yep.
He's on wax talking about who they should have drafted.
Getting booed by the fans. He's engaging. He's trolling.
He said, well, that was just really about Phil. And then he did the post the day after the game that had nothing to do with Phil that called himself what?
The King of New York, and a gigantic New York Knicks logo with him standing on top of it.
You didn't see Cavs anywhere.
It didn't feel like he was being disrespectful to the franchise in the way that you know, standing on the Dallas Cowboys star was for Terrell Owens. It felt like an homage almost.
It was, and he said that was his favorite playground. And so based on that, it allows me to think, I'm going to be a free agent. New Yorkers, there could be a chance if I left that I come run with Porzingis in your young squad.
Do you think this will be the last time this year where we talk about where LeBron will potentially play next year?
Not at all, but I wanted to be the person to put it on wax.
Good. Alex Davis has a question. Does Jalen ever fear of getting replaced permanently because the guests that take his spot temporarily are so good? You can't replace Jalen Rose with Jalen and Jacoby, man. No. We've been putting in 6 years of work on this. Just because someone walks in and does a half an hour.
Here's what happens.
That's not how this works.
We spoiled the audience. We never took days off.
We don't take days off.
No. And what ended up happening is, now when I don't do a show a couple of days, people think I'm on vacation.
Exactly.
Like, there were things I had to do for another opportunity that's coming up. And let me just put this on wax. I can put it out there now.
No, don't do it. Whatever you're about to do, don't do it.
No, I can put it out there.
Whatever you're about to do, don't do it. See, this is Darrell Revis right here. So I promise whatever he's about to say out of Jalen Rose's mouth is something that he should not say, some sort of announcement, going to put something out there in the world, and going to cause controversy.
It is an announcement. You know me very well. I'm honored. I'm enthusiastic. I'm excited. I am so very fortunate that I've been asked by our great network to participate on a show that's going to start in 2018 called Get Up.
Good name. I'm a title guy. Good name. Get Up is good.
Get up now. Get on up.
Yeah, it's got to get up. You get up in the morning. You get up with a friend. You get up on the information. It's a good name.
Outcast, you got to get up, get out, and get something. Along with my good friends and colleagues, the great Mike Greenberg and Michelle Beadle.
And others.
Who's also participated on this show. That's what made me think of this announcement, because she's one of the people that's filled in one of the days I wasn't here.
But you have a message for Jalen and Jacoby listeners.
But I have a strong message for Jalen and Jacoby listeners. We not going nowhere.
You can't replace J&J.
Did Puff say this best? We ain't going nowhere. We ain't.
So whatever press release you read, whatever article you read about Jalen Rose doing a morning show, that does not mean Jalen Rose is not going to do Jalen and Jacoby.
So when you see me tweeting #GetUp, that's going to be 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern. What time do they watch J&J?
All night on ESPN News. All morning.
So that's
DVR.
12 hours later.
Yeah.
I have plenty of time to do this program.
Don't worry if you're a J&J fan. J&J is not going anywhere. We'll continue to give people what they want, get bigger and stronger, even though Jalen Rose will be on the morning show. So don't worry if you read something in the press.
And by the way, it's mutual. Not that they're asking me to replace you. They're asking you to replace me.
Mm-hmm. You know what? There's only been one time in the history of this program where there was someone who replaced me.
Van Lyons?
No. It was Robert Mays, the great Robert Mays, early in the Grantland days. I was out for a week. I think I was in Hawaii, and he was my co-host. He was your co-host 1 week. And there's only been one episode in which I was not here.
But I can't front. Me and Katie Nolan did talk about replacing you when you went to the bathroom.
Yeah, you probably should, though. I would definitely take Katie Nolan over me. I'm holding you back. If you can convince Katie Nolan to do this show would get bigger. You have to keep calling it Jalen and Jacoby.
And I respectfully say this.
I won't be on it, but you still have to call it Jalen and Jacoby.
She would appreciate what I'm about to say, so it ain't a slight or a diss because I'm saying it about myself too.
Of course.
Who would do all the work? That would be the problem.
Oh, good point. Oh, you're trying to get me back in the production role.
No doubt.
You're trying to get me back in the control room. I see what you're doing.
Because here's the thing. We start at the top of the hour. I'll be showing up at 58, and she'll be showing up at 59.
And you'll be looking around like, what are we talking about today, guys? I know how y'all do. I know exactly how y'all do. Ezekiel Elliott is withdrawing his appeal of suspension, so he's going to serve the full 6 games. That surprise you at all?
Doesn't surprise me. Should have did it from the jump.
I just like finality.
We all knew that he was going to serve the 6 games. Mm-hmm. You might as well have done it and stopped everybody from talking about this for weeks and weeks and weeks and getting the season going. Then all of a sudden, now there's going to be an interruption of your performance during the middle of the season that may end up costing your team, if not a playoff spot, a playoff seeding. But you could just got it out of the way from the beginning.
Yep. I like it. Next question that we have. This is from Oh Jesus.
Shout out.
He has a question for the senior statue analysts of Jalen and Jacoby.
Okay.
Now, this is a bit of a story. I'm going to have to let you up on this. There's a chill cat meme of this cat chilling on a bench, much like a human would chill on a bench.
Okay.
This cat passed away in 2015. What they did is they erected a statue of said chill cat in the spot where the chill cat was being so chill. If you're listening to this and you're driving your car, you haven't been on the internet as obsessively as I have. It's a cat basically relaxing with his arm up on an armrest, chilling like a person. Do you support the chill cat statue?
I like it. I support it. It's cultural. No question about it. I could bet anything that said suburban neighborhood, wherever it is.
I think it's in Istanbul.
Okay.
Istanbul.
Okay. I like it. I support it. It looks just like the cat. Mm-hmm. It did a great job of mimicking the actual body language.
The essence of the chill cat.
No question about it. And, I love animals.
Neil Patel sent this to us. It's a picture of a bumper sticker on a minivan. Do you know what the bumper sticker says? I used to be cool.
I have the minivan capo in the studio to answer that question.
This person drives an Odyssey. You may think that they're eligible for the minivan mafia. Ineligible. There is nothing cooler than taking care of your family. There's nothing cooler than being safe. There's nothing cooler than being efficient. There's nothing cooler than pushing a button on your keychain and watching your sliding side door just open up. There's nothing cooler than plugging in a vacuum into your car and vacuuming your car like it's your living room. There's nothing cooler than having cup holders on cup holders on cup holders. There is nothing cooler than having more TVs in your car than there are in your house. There's nothing cooler than driving a minivan. And there is nothing whacker than acting like driving a minivan isn't cool.
So I'm going to go the other way on this one.
Okay.
I think this is one of those things where being an athlete, sometimes I hear people say certain things about being in a foxhole that have never been in a foxhole.
Well, that's what I do for a living.
Either I have to call them on it or I take it personal.
That's what I do for a living.
I think you're in this so much that your feelings are into the sticker, but he's really, or she, is saying the exact same thing you are. They're owning it. They're saying, I used to be cool. It's not saying, I'm still cool.
I'm still cool. Am I not cool anymore, Jalen?
You admit it.
Am I not cool anymore?
You I want to quote the great American philosopher David Jacoby.
Oh, I'm going to cry now. Don't make me cry on radio.
You said the first
Don't
thing
make me cry.
That goes with driving a minivan is to know who you are, and that's not cool.
I'm going to go cry.
You're a family man.
I'm going to go cry.
And it's about the safety
I'm breaking down.
Of the precious cargo that's in the vehicle. You said that.
My soul is crushed. Don't forget, if you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us voicemails. If you leave us voicemails, we'll play them on the show. It is Wednesday, which means all of our voicemails will be females today. Reggie, let's listen to the first female voicemail.
Jalen, Jacoby, what up, Doe? This is Dawn from Columbus. So, Jacoby, I don't know if you remember, but we are like one of your favorite swirl couples that's about to be joining the Minivan Mafia sometime in the near future. And shout out to Chris, my fiance, because he got on the show last week. So shout out to Reggie. Thank you for that. But now I need your guys' help. I have a question for you guys. It's a serious question. Soft move or boss move, okay? So Christopher and I, we have really good conversation. I mean, our talks are deep, they're philosophical, and we cover a lot of ground when we're talking, and they're just rich. They're so good. And what I've noticed, because it's happened multiple times now, is that when we're talking, he's just looking at me with all of his attention, right? He's giving me his full attention. And then I think I'm smelling something. And so I'm tripping over my words because I'm like, well, no, like, because if he passed gas, like, he would tell me that, right? Because that's what people do, right? Or they excuse themselves to pass gas. But Chris does not do that. And so I point blank asked him tonight during a really deep conversation. I'm like, Chris, and she was like, did you fart, man? He's like, I'm sorry, babe. Like, I didn't want to interrupt you. But here's my problem. I'm still interrupted just because you didn't tell me, like, okay, stop talking, excuse myself real quick, or like, hey, heads up, so you might want to cover your nose with your shirt or something. My nose still works. So I'm still being interrupted because now I do have to stop talking. I have to cover up my face. And I get it. Tonight we're in a car talking, so there was no escape. But we got windows. We can roll a window down or something. Let's not just sit in bed. Anyways, so is it a soft move or a boss move to just fart in front of somebody and not say anything and just hope? You're just like hoping on, just wishing on a prayer, man, that they're not going to smell it. Knowing good and wrong that they are. Then what are you going to say? What's your excuse going to be? So is it a soft move or a boss move? Please help me out with this so me and Chris can get past this debate here. All right. Shouts out to everyone on this show. Keep giving the people what they want. Peace out.
Hi, Dawn. What up, Doe, Chris? Appreciate the support.
Shout out.
Holla, holla to Columbus. A couple of things. We love power couples on this show.
Of course. We love love.
You guys represent one. Have deep conversations that are rich.
Farting on each other.
That take time. Here's the thing. For a guy, and I'm just going to take that perspective, all people think they're slick, but men do a little bit more.
That's a good point.
And when he's holding his stomach and his butt cheeks tight, if he feels like it's not going to make a noise, he's not going to say anything.
He got that face on that you could tell he's like trying to look like he's listening, but you could tell in his eyes he's thinking about something else. That's probably what he's up to.
And also, he didn't realize how bad it was going to stink.
No.
He forgot what he ate today. Mm-hmm. And so, for Chris, here's what you got to do. Got to keep some candles around. Got to keep some spray around. And when you think that you having a deep conversation with wifey and you got to let one go, just say, I got to run in the bathroom. Act like you're going to do a number one, and then just let it go in the bathroom.
Always get great advice here on Jalen and Jacoby from Jalen Rose. I'd say that you got to own everything you do. So it's just a boss move just to politely excuse yourself if it happened to happen. You know, sometimes you get caught. You didn't think it was going to smell, it smells.
And also, the reason why you do that is because there's always going to be times when you're with someone and neither one of you can control it, and one gets let go and you hear it, and then all you do is just laugh anyway.
Mm-hmm. My thing is kids will snitch on you. So I drop my son off at preschool. We walk in the room. It's quiet. Everyone turns to look to see who's coming in the room. He yells to the entire preschool, the teachers, everybody, "Daddy farted in the car on the way over here."
Hey, Reg, you got something for me?
I farted in the studio. Let's listen to another female voice. I farted in the studio. I get it, Reg.
Hey, my name is Monica Driver. I'm a Flint, Michigan native. And my question is, should the 3 young men from UCLA be kicked off the team for the shoplifting incident in China?
First of all, I love the kids in the background. And we just discussed this in the previous segment. But to answer your question, no. You can't get kicked off the team for that. Jalen?
We feel slightly different.
Really? Oh, no way.
Shouldn't be expelled. Shouldn't be expelled from school.
No.
Shouldn't be kicked off the team. But you got to miss half of the season. They shouldn't be able to come back to a Pac-12 season.
Yep. Oof.
Because you're not only doing it for the people involved, you're doing it for the next person that makes this bad decision.
If I remember correctly, you got in a little trouble during your time at the University of Michigan.
This is true.
And I don't remember you missing half a season.
Because I was not guilty.
No. Okay.
That's the difference.
Okay.
They didn't have to hit up Bill Clinton to help me out.
You sure it wasn't George Bush? You sure Clinton was in office then?
I guess he wasn't, huh? I wasn't voting in.
Bill Clinton was trying to hit you up later in his career to get out.
I'm not proud to say, collegiate Jalen Rose wasn't voting.
Yeah, well, you can't change the past. You know? Can't change the past. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. Shout to Flint, Michigan.
Can I say something else?
Of course. You have a radio show and a microphone.
I want to make sure I highlight that right now in Flint, Michigan, almost like a third world country, there still isn't 100% clean, running, usable water for people to use.
It's one of those things that our society does, and I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad thing. It's just something I'm observing, that it can be a hot topic for a month, but it just gets a little fatigue. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of fatigue from people that aren't immediately affected by, Flint, we gotta get water to Flint. Let's all the rappers go to Flint, start giving stuff away. Athletes are going to Flint, driving around trucks, giving away water bottles. You know, it doesn't mean that the problem's solved.
I'm sorely disappointed in our country that isn't being treated like the natural disaster that it is, and immediate help and attention isn't continued to be levied on that situation until it's fixed.
Well put. Reggie, let's listen to the next female voicemail.
Hey, Jalen. Hey, Jacoby. Hey, Reggie in the back. My name's Lexi, and I'm from Atlanta by the way of DFW. So shout out to Dallas. So, my question today is, 1, is it a soft move or a boss move for your boyfriend to tell you, hey, call Jalen and Jacoby, shout me out, I'll give you a question to ask. So, shout out to Keith. And 2, is it a soft move or a boss move to force your girlfriend to go with you to a Phoenix Suns basketball game? It is your birthday, but they're not even your team. So soft move or boss move on both. Love the pod. Keep giving the people what they want. Keep getting them checks. And keep giving everybody a dope pod to step to. Later, y'all.
Oh, I appreciate the call so much. That was Lexi, right? Appreciate that call. Sometimes I feel like some of these female voicemails are like hostage situations. You know what I mean? Like, the boyfriend is standing right next to her, telling her what to say. Not saying that about you, Lexi, but I'm saying in general, you know what I mean? And I understand we appreciate all of our female listeners and all of our female callers. On your birthday, you should not be forced to do anything. That's a soft move. I mean, I understand he's making an effort. He knows you're a basketball fan. Taking you to an NBA game. He's trying. But on your birthday, it should be whatever you want, whenever you want, whatever that is.
I'm rolling with Jacoby on that one. It's a boss move for all couples to support Jalen and Jacoby
in any way, shape, or form,
regardless to who turned who on first. I must stress that.
Of course,
there are women that turn their boyfriends on to our pod, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
I agree on your birthday should be whatever you want, so that's a soft move. But it's a boss move for him to have you call, give you a question. Because
Absolutely.
you got to be informed. You're representing both of you guys.
Of course.
So he can't have you calling up here.
I know how this works. They argued about the Suns thing. And you know what they said? They said, let's have Jalen and Jacoby weigh in on this and settle this argument. So I'm going to settle it. Lexi, you're right. It's a soft move. You're not a Suns fan. You get whatever you want on your birthday. We have time for one more female voicemail. Reggie, what do you got?
Hey, Jalen and Jacoby, what up? My name is Dana from Oregon. I live in Oregon, but I'm from Minnesota. So I'm just calling to say, Frozen State represent, and what do you think about them Timberwolves, though? Peace.
I like the succinct call from Danielle.
Yes, indeed. We need more callers like her. But then, I do like when people call in
too.
And they feel like, you know what, I got a lot to say, I'm just going to say it.
Exactly.
Because if they play my call, they're going to listen.
They can edit it down, you know?
Big shout to Oregon and Minnesota that she represents.
Shout out.
I really like the Timberwolves. They have to defend better.
Mm-hmm.
They have a couple of the bright young stars in the game, Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns. They added Jimmy Butler. Jamal Crawford's going to be a
Thibodeau's
heat-check
a defensive coach.
But their coach is going to stress playing defense. And as they continue to buy in, which I think they will, you have a team that's going to be a perennial playoff team and possibly a couple of players away from trying to take that next leap. But, man, the Golden State Warriors are still in the West. But Karl Anthony Towns should have his way against them because they have nobody his size that should be able to stop him from getting layups and dunks.
Jalen Leott left. Jalen bounced on us, but he passed the baton to my friend and Jalen Jacoby's official senior Sixers analyst, Ben Detrick of the Cookies podcast. So we joke and call you the official senior Sixers analyst here of Jalen Jacoby because you are a friend of mine and you are obsessed with the 76ers. You cannot have a conversation about the National Basketball Association with Ben Detrick without it somehow circling back to the 76ers. It's really an uncanny conversational ability that you have. But I'm excited to talk to you about them because I'm very excited about the Sixers.
You know, it's been a long time coming. You know, I was talking about Tony Rote when no one wanted to, but now we're in the media cycle. I feel validated.
I want to start with this. I always watch League Pass and I bounce around game to game, but for whatever reason, I watched the entire from jump to buzzer Clippers Sixers game. And what really stood out to me, obviously, Joel Embiid is excellent. Ben Simmons is far and away not just the Rookie of the Year, one of the most sort of exciting rookies I've seen in a long time, but is Covington. And Covington, someone who I'm sure has been on your radar for quite some time, but not necessarily part of the national conversation. What does Covington bring to this team, and why is he so important?
Well, he's one of those guys that fits the prototypical 3-and-D category. And oddly enough, there aren't that many 3-and-D guys in the league. You've got your Danny Greens, you've got your PJ Tuckers, but guys who can legitimately shoot and really defend, there's not a ton of them. And Covington is that guy. He's a streaky shooter. He's not going to shoot 50% from three for the season. But with him getting better looks because they've got more talented teammates to attract attention, his defense is legit, though. I mean, he can really lock people down. He's got like a 7-foot-plus wingspan, guard 2 through 5. I love Covington. And to me, when people talk about the future of Philly, getting him under contract for the foreseeable future is a huge part of what Philly's doing. He is like their third Heat, to borrow 30 Rock parlance. You got Embiid and you got Simmons, but Covington is the third best player on that team.
So here's the interesting thing about his contract, and I'm normally not deep in the contract weeds when it comes to NBA analysis, but he's got a really unique situation. Literally today, he is up to renegotiate because he signed a 3-year deal on November 15th, 3 years ago. He currently this morning is making $1.57 or somewhere around there, $1 million a year, which anyone who pays any attention to contracts in the NBA is an absolute steal, like a Stephen Curry level value. But now the Sixers have to pay him. What do you think will happen with his contract?
Well, the Sixers are confronted with the dilemma here of they can let him play out the rest of this year on that same more or less minimum contract. So he'll play out this season making $1 million and change or whatever it is. But he'll become an unrestricted free agent at the end of this season. So what they're trying to do is get him to take maybe less than he could get on the open market, but the security of not having to worry about blowing out a knee or something like that down the stretch. Well, also what the Sixers can do is, because they've got money on this year's cap, they can give him a contract that goes down year by year. So they can pay him a good chunk of money. He makes way more for this season than he would otherwise, but it goes down so he's not actually killing them on the cap in, say, 4 years.
So to make sense of that, it's essentially like, let's say they've got $20 million in cap room. They can give him all $20 million, but they don't have to give him $20 million next year. They can kind of front load the contract, and then it goes down next year, so it's only $15 million against the cap or whatever. I'm just using sort of random numbers to make it make sense. But it's an interesting thing.
There's some stipulations about how much a contract can decrease year by year, but in general, that's the idea.
And another thing I want to talk to you about, because you pay a lot of attention to the Sixers. From the outside looking in, you're looking at the Jahlil Okafor situation. You're just like, why don't they just trade this man? If they are not playing him, they're not getting any value out of him. Do you think that the market for Jahlil Okafor is so low that they just haven't made a deal yet?
That's the only thing I can think of, is that the teams would be interested in taking that contract, just don't want to give up anything because they figure they can just sign him after the season. Like, why give up more than like a second-round pick? But to your point, if you can get a second-round pick at this point, maybe that's better than anything else.
And I need your inside insight on this one, because this is interesting to me, the Markelle Fultz situation. I don't think he is less hurt than he was early in the season, but it kind of seemed like they had so many good things going for them with Embiid back and Simmons. They don't necessarily need him. So it was like, is he sidelined because of a physical thing, a mental thing, a mix of both? Like, what is going on with Markelle Fultz?
Even when we spoke the last time I was on the show about Fultz, and I had some skepticism about him. I'm agnostic in terms of Fultz. But I think there's clearly something physical wrong. I don't think he just got the yips and, switched his shooting form. I mean, he was the number one pick from halfway through last season. He had the eyeballs on him, in college. I don't think it makes any sense that he would adjust his shooting form. So I think it is just physical. Maybe it's a long-term injury, maybe it's a short one, but I just view it as being nothing other than something that is healable. I'm not really worried about him because of this. I'm worried about him for other reasons.
Ooh, talk to me. Talk dirty to me. What are the other reasons you're worried about Fultz?
Well, I mean, the things that going into the draft we even spoke about, the fact that he wasn't contributing to Washington winning a lot of games. He doesn't seem to be able to generate incredibly high-value shots. He's not that great at finishing at the rim. I don't think those are reasons that he shouldn't have gone number one, but I'm saying those are the concerns that bug me more than him developing a freakish, childlike, release on a basketball.
One thing I love about this team, and Brett Brown specifically, is there was an article in the Post that Brown was the centerpiece of earlier, and he said, we set our expectations on the playoffs, and no matter what, we are going to consider this season a failure. The sort of the tanking for the process thing is over. This is playoffs or bust, and we're not going to budge on that bar we have to get over. What do you think about that approach, and do you see this team in the playoffs?
It's very difficult to know how good the Sixers actually are, because Simmons is overperforming, Embiid is great, Covington's overperforming right now, and even with that, I think they're ranked, 21st offensively, and I want to say 16th or 17th defensively. Even with some very good things happening, they haven't been a great team. They've been an interesting team, and they've been decent, and they've won a bunch of games in a row. But I feel like that's a dangerous sort of standard to set for a team that has, a rookie in Ben Simmons, Embiid, who's injury prone, and honestly not a lot on the bench. Saric is not a bad player, but they don't have a lot of depth on that team. So if Embiid goes down, they can't defend. They're 20 points better per 100 possessions with Embiid on the floor. If he goes down, they're a bad team.
There's a lot of Amir Johnson if Embiid goes down. A lot of Amir Johnson.
I mean, the Jahlil Okafor reclamation project.
So it seems like we now have enough of a sample size to evaluate Dario Saric. Now, if you look at Dario Saric, what his expectations were, what his performance has been that last year and this year, do you like what you're seeing from him?
His game has changed a little bit, where he's now taking half his shot from three, which was not necessarily the kind of player he was before he came to the Sixers. He's shooting well from there, but he's not really getting to the line. He's not taking people off the dribble. He's become a kind of prototypical stretch four when he's out there with Simmons, and he also isn't a great defensive player. So I think his role last year fit his skill set a little more than sort of standing in the corner and taking threes. Cynically, trading him last offseason because you knew Simmons was coming in might have been a better strategic move because he would showcase his abilities, especially down the stretch last year.
Finally, before you leave, Ben, I just want you to know we haven't played pickup basketball in like a year and a half. I want you to know that my game has gotten older and it's gotten slower, and the turnovers are even more fancy, and it's just everything is falling apart. The better I become at a parent, the worse I become as a basketball player.
I played last night, and I will say that my game is getting incredibly slow, and I was not fast to begin with. So generally, I've become a Dario Saric type player,
good.
where I stand in one place and I chuck up threes, and then I go back and play mediocre defense. So I'm very into Saric's game right
I'm
now.
all for it. I look forward to playing pickup basketball with you, and I also look forward to you coming back on the show as our senior Sixers analyst. Ben Detrick from the Cookies Podcast. The Cookies Podcast is making a return right around Thanksgiving for your tryptophan nap. Throw in the turkey. The Cookies Podcast, no longer part of the Vice Sports Network. Thank you so much, Ben Detrick.
Thank you, Jacoby.